What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Healthier Choices Management, tickers HCMC. I want to go over some of the latest updates as far as the lawsuit, operations, and that whole spinoff. So I'm going to go over all that. Make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So on a side note, I'm not going to go into the technicals because it's barcoding, but it is to note over the last several days, there's been a lot of big buying that's been happening. And I don't know if that's an indication of potentially something coming or not, or maybe it's associated to, for instance, the lawsuit. And as far as the lawsuit, there surprisingly was an update around 9-10 days ago, on which it does look like the actual lawsuit itself is put on hold, just pending the patent office. So it does look like we're in a little bit more of a waiting game once again. HCMC does have to provide their opening argument by June the 16th, as what's stated here by Jaws. But generally, it looks like the whole appeal process is around 14 months. So once again, a little bit more of a waiting game. And this is just for the patent office. Once this does get passed, and hopefully in HCMC's favor, then this is where the lawsuit itself can go underway. But by then, there is going to be that new spinoff, so of HCWC. On a side note, I've been getting some questions as far as I haven't received my shares yet and so forth. I just wanted to briefly explain that. So technically, as what's stated on here, the Q&A that came out on April the 24th, it does indicate that it is going to be Q2, if not Q3, this whole spinoff is going to be completed, and that is where the shares are going to be issued. So again, it all comes down to if you held it on April 26th. So if you bought it before that going into this, so April 26th is that ex-dividend date that they are going to be using as a benchmark. So again, that's just a little bit more of a backstory there. As far as operations, looking on their actual website though, there is no updates whatsoever to indicate that they have moved or are moving forward with the whole spinoff as of right now. But in a lot of their PR ever since I think in August of 2022, when they started to do the 4-point plan and really talk about it, they've always said the New York Stock Exchange. So of course, I've been watching a lot of the applications to come down the pipeline to see, for instance, if there is a HCWC in the works, and as of right now, there is not. So I just wanted to kind of show you this as far as how companies could get on the New York Stock Exchange. So there's the traditional way, so there's IPO, direct floor listing, SPAC, there's also right here, transfer, which of course would kind of work in Mullen's way, because it does say if you're moving from another US exchange, you can just move over to, for instance, the New York Stock Exchange, fairly easy to do. But there is also this aspect right here, so upgrades from the OTC. But keep in mind, what HCMC is doing is a little bit more of a different aspect. So they're not really upgrading and they're not really transferring, because they're technically going to be doing a spinoff. So they are keeping HCMC physically whole under the OTC. So in my opinion, I do feel that they are going to be going the IPO route, unless they do find a kind of a shell company per se to do a SPAC, so a reverse merger or something like that. But keep in mind though, there is certain restrictions when it comes down to this, and it all comes down to, for instance, the market cap and selling and so forth to see if they do qualify. As I've said almost since the get-go, August of 2022, I did say that even at that stage, HCMC did not qualify to be uplisted to the New York Stock Exchange. I still do strongly feel, keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, so you guys do your own due diligence, but I feel that they will most likely end up with the NASDAQ, going that route, because it's a little bit easier to go there. But keep in mind, they do have certain threshold limits as far as the opening bid price. But again, HCMC is doing a little bit more of a different aspect of the whole spinoff, because the HCMC itself is staying intact. So I don't know if a lot of people are going to be still getting into HCMC because of maybe the lawsuit or updates as far as that. Maybe that might be justification why over the last several days there has been a lot of buying that's been happening. Not sufficient amount of volume, but based on the percentage, a lot more has been buys. So of course, that's just my own interpretation of that. But be aware, again, this is just based on, for instance, the IPO route on the New York Stock Exchange. It does talk on, for instance, the market value. So market value currently is 34.63 million. And just going back over here, it does say that you need to have at least 40 million. Or for instance, if they're looking to kind of uplist or potentially, then it needs to be 100 million. but obviously in this case it would be the 40 million. So technically as of right now it does not qualify, but I don't know if they're going to be using, for instance, this date as a little bit more of a benchmark. So this August or April 26th, which of course is the ex-dividend date. So I don't know if they're going to be using that, because technically it was over 40 at that stage. So I think it's all up in the air right now. As far as some other updates, there was a lot of SEC filings that was submitted. So it does look like a lot of insiders are still continuing to sell, but they do have a huge amount of shares. And as I've been bringing up, based on this table right here, a lot of them still do have a lot of stock options that haven't been exercised, and a lot of which is expiring in 2027. So potentially still something to be aware of coming down the pipeline that in reality will dilute HCMC considerably. Over and above that, there was an actual 8K form that was submitted, as what's shown right here. It's nothing really crazy. It just goes to show that the whole preferred stock that came out in, I think, March, if I remember correctly. It just goes to show that the conversion, they're changing that a little bit, at least the wording. So nothing really crazy to write home about, but again, that is happening behind the scenes. So once again, let me know you guys' thoughts on all of this in the comments below. Are you still excited, for instance, of HCWC? I think at this stage, it's been almost talked on a year, give or take. So I think it's kind of overdue, and I'm kind of curious to see exactly how it's going to perform, for instance, on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange, wherever it lands. I'm kind of interested to see exactly people's interpretation of that. But once again, keep in mind these videos are strictly for entertainment purposes only. Let me know you guys' thoughts on all of this in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing I just wanted to share with you, you can always take advantage of free promos, and one free promo is with 𝗪𝗧𝗪. Link in the description below and also the comments. Sign up for a free account, you get one free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So even if you just do that, take advantage of this while you can. It's only for May. And on a side note, 𝗪𝗧𝗪 does also offer $0 commission and free level 2 trading. So like I said, it's a kind of a win-win. Let me know you guys' thoughts on all this in the comments below. And without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on HCMC or HCWC.